Country. There's the starting lineup for UC Davis. They're really their best player, Chima Monecki, and their other outstanding senior guard, Brenton Lamar. They're really the two most productive players for the Aggies.
Well, they've got some guys, Ted, that can knock down some threes, and you're going to see Jim Less's style. Now you've got Cal, on the other hand, who's really hung their head on defense. So it's going to be a battle of wills here. Can Cal get out there and score? Can they get out there and stop the three-point line for the UC Davis Aggies?
Yeah, and only the second game that Jabari Bird is starting this year. He came off the bench for both games Cal just played in Pearl Harbor, where they beat Princeton on Tuesday, lost to Seton Hall. 2-point game on Wednesday. And now back home, and again, the Bears will not travel again. They won't leave Berkeley again until the opening weekend of conference, or excuse me, second weekend of conference play. They'll open up here with the Arizona schools. Bird got a good look at a three. Long rebound comes to Lamar for the Aggies. UC Davis 5-4 on the season. Best win, and I would tell you they won at Santa Clara, where Herb Sendek is now coaching. But winning on the home floor. There's a little shuffle by Denrelay.
Well, Ted, you see right from the start, the outset, that Cal's big guys are intimidating. It's tough to go up against Cal's big guys and score, and they're the forced travel just by having size.
Kingsley Okoro starting in the inside, of course, with Cameron Rook out past the first of the year. Foul inside. They're going to get that on Rab.
Well, Ted, that's one thing that Cal's got to work really hard on, and Ivan knows that. He's really called himself out and said, hey, I've got to keep myself in basketball games. Early foul trouble, getting there to the half. He's got to get to the half without picking up a third, and he's an aggressive player, so you got to give it to him, but you got to really maintain foul discipline.
Yeah, he's averaging 31 minutes a game so far, so that's a optimistic sign for Cal. In the lane goes Monecki, and he hits an Aussie, Chima Monecki.
You see the Aggies now switching their defenses. You're going to see Jim Less's team play a little bit of 1-1-2, 1-1, 1-1-3, and just see if they can keep Cal off guard by changing every possession down the floor.
And there goes Charlie Moore. Good ball reversal there. And Charlie Moore, 17 points a game, Ben, but he's a 40% three-ball shooter.
Ted, tell me he's a freshman again. He just does not play like one. He's got such poise and really great plays with a lot of cool, a lot of composure.
Denrelay missing that little push hook inside, and now Moore pushing the ball. Well, talking to Konzo today, and that's the word I used at the very end, Ben. You understand this, obviously, coaching so many years, flow. That's what watching Cal tonight would be interesting, because they haven't had their team together.
No, that's
between Bird's injuries, Rab's injuries, now Rook's. Konzo said, I've yet to have one practice since October 15 with my real team out there.
Well, that's really challenging, too. If you're a coach and you're a program, just to get in your rhythm, Ted, you do it in practice. You don't do it in the games.
And, boy, good look there. Both shot missing by JT Denrelay. And then fronting there, Denrelay picks up the foul. Trying to go over the left side of Okoro. Konzo Martin's numbers here in his third season. 48 wins overall. And again, this is really... scheduling's an individual's thing, as you lived as a coach too. Again, Cal not playing a single road game until the second weekend of conference. But the positive thing on their front is that they use this time because they're not going anywhere.
No, there's a, you have an opportunity to establish yourself at home, keep your guys at home during finals, get your rest. So it plays both ways. You want to get a couple of road tests, but you also want to get your rhythm at home and get healthy.
Ooh, there's Lamar, Brenton Lamar. 13 points a game is the top scorer, just a fraction ahead of Monecki for UC Davis.
Well, here's the extended press, Ted. They're going to try to get an extension, make Cal's guards get out there and take a little time off the clock, reset so they're not in their stances long. But Cal's doing a pretty good job, I think, of trying to get it inside, and they get to the rim pretty hard.
Nice. What a move. Wow, there's what so many people think this could be, that kind of season where Jabari Bird could put it all together.
Ted, watch how explosive Jabari Bird is. He gets baseline, and he gets to the opposite end of the rim and really would have had a slam dunk or reverse dunk if he wasn't fouled, and still made the basket. Great body control and finish by Jabari Bird.
There you see what he's done in just the 3 games. Although, again, he's been able to play 31 minutes a game.
Well, I'll go out on a limb, and maybe not such a limb when I say it, but he's going to have some terrific games this year. If he stays healthy, he will have some big production games for this Cal team.
Back comes Sam Singer. Hard to believe. I mean, I'm looking at Bird, Sam Singer there, and that's blocked out of bounds by Lawrence White. But I'm looking at Jabari Bird, and I'm thinking, senior? Wait a minute, he just got here.
Well, that was quick, and you know, he came in with so many accolades, and he's really stepped into his own last year, I thought, late, and it was unfortunate didn't get to play in the NCAA tournament, Ted, but he just really came on and did some very good things for his team. So hopefully we'll see him stepping up this year and giving this team the much-needed lift. They really missed him dearly for a large stretch this year.
All right, Stephen Domingo is in for Cal. First sub. You see Davis. Mikey Henn is in the game. And Charlie Moore had the left side. Rolled it off the rim. Monecki pushing it is Graham. Pull up there by Darius Graham, senior from Sacramento.
A lot of people might say, hey, is that a great shot? But when you're playing against Cal, Ted, you try to get as many shots in transition. You don't want to attack them down low.
And so Graham pushing it again. Had Henn on the left wing. Charlie Moore back. Nice. Ooh, give it back. Did he get back in bounds? Davis didn't think so. Domingo missing a chip shot. Davis thought Moore not reestablished himself in bounds.
Well, there's a case of being a little too unselfish. Yeah. And when you have a 2-on-1, you want to be a little wider than lane line, Ted, and unless you're just going to throw it off the glass and hope Jabari cleans it up, which isn't a bad option, I might add.
All right, game going up and down here. First 5 minutes. It's interesting. Charlie Moore with the ball. Singer playing off the ball for Cal. Using Domingo's screen, pick and pop. Domingo's had a rough start so far. Ooh, there's a... Boy, underneath went Mikey Henn. And thankfully, both players get up all right there. Okoro falling on top of him.
That was a classic box out, Ted. That's how you're taught to do it, and he did a job.
This Pac-12 men's basketball game is brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. With great beer comes great responsibility. This Pac-12 men's basketball game is brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. With great beer comes great responsibility. By Black Bear Diner, good old-fashioned family food. And by Supercuts, save time. Check in online with our mobile app or at supercuts.com. One of the great figures in college basketball and a legendary figure here, Pete Newell in the middle. It was his team that set that consecutive home court winning streak that this present Cal team can tie tonight. And Ben Braun's first California Golden Bears team, which I remember well, having a chance to work with you back then. Too many years ago, I don't want to say. But you went undefeated on this. Actually, it was still Harmon Gym then. It hadn't been renovated and improved to Haas Pavilion. Undefeated that season, Ben. I remember that very well.
Well, we did, Ted, but it's really an advantage if you're coaching on your home floor and you can go undefeated. It's just great for your confidence, and it's also tough on your opponents. They know coming in that this is a tough place to play, so psychologically, you want to win as many games as you can on your home floor.
And Ben Braun's first Cal team, I'll remind everybody, went to the Sweet 16.
Well, that's what they parlayed that winning streak at home and did a good job getting there. It was a very talented team.
Well, there's a lift for Cal. Grant Mullins can get consistent with that.
Ted, I've said this before, but Grant Mullins can be a real factor for this team. He's a dead-eye shooter, and I know they missed Jordan Matthews from a year ago, but I really believe Grant Mullins, having seen his teams play when he was at Columbia, really knows how to score.
Oh, nice power move there. Monecki went right at Rab. Chima Monecki's second basket for the Aggies. So Rab's trying to go back. Ooh, he felt the double come over. That was nice, wasn't it, Ben? He felt the double come and he flipped the ball.
We talked about Barishnikov in the open, Ted, but he really does a good job, and he uses either hand. Just watch how comfortable Ivan Rab is getting to the rim, drawing the double, and going with his offhand and finding Stephen Domingo point blank at the rim.
Yeah, that was very nice. So Stephen Domingo, and this is a player, just looking at the stat sheet, I'm sure he doesn't want to because his shooting numbers are way below where his talent is. So I'm sure it's a puzzle both for him and for Conzo Martin to see how do we get Stephen Domingo's confidence going.
Well, Ted, statistics and records are meant to be broken and adjusted, and you sometimes statistics will tell you what you want to know, but if you're a player and if you're a coach that you have to get that out of your team, and Stephen Domingo is certainly capable. I remember him in high school, and he was a very explosive player, and he's had some good games for Cal, so he steps his game up. Cal's at another level. There's no doubt about that.
And unfortunately, even at the foul line, he's just 37%, which is startling because he's just a much better player than that.
Well, you watch him practice, as you and I have done countless times this year. He knocks those shots down. It's not even a factor. So you've just got to be able to carry over your practice performance into the game.
Look at that. Tim O'Toole, a great ad by Conzo Martin this year. Tim O'Toole, first-year assistant for Cal. He had been on Johnny Dawkins' staff at Stanford. Tip out to Lawrence White. All right, and I believe we're going to have a clock situation here. Mike Greenstein, Jerry Pollard, Scott Brown are officials.
But, Ted, you mentioned Tim O'Toole, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that zone that Tim O'Toole has played in. And, you know. Well, and that's they got it from Syracuse, and Timmy does a good job. He's a tough, hard-nosed guy, East Coast, and he'll bring a lot of toughness. I like their staff. Tracy Webster on the sideline as well, and Joaquin Jones. They do a good job with the big guys. He's got a great staff, and they've done a good job. They've been just the toughest defensive team in this league.
His addition of that zone to Stanford last year, I thought, was one of the instrumental coaching moves of the season in the conference.
It got Johnny Dawkins' team all the way to the Sweet 16.
All right, our Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. The longest active home court win streak is at Allen Fieldhouse, no surprise. Second, we all knew South Dakota State. How about Oregon? I didn't realize they're up to 30 at the mat now.
Well, just was there last week, and they are really playing well at home. And you've got Indiana and Akron, my buddy Keith Dambrot there. So you've got 5 schools that are really dominating on their home court.
Oregon will be they'll have Alabama at the mat tomorrow with Avery Johnson, and then Montana will be there on Tuesday.
Those 2 games, Ted, will test the Ducks. I will predict that both of those games will be tough tests for the Ducks. And Cal's got some tough games coming up as well, certainly. But you want to ride this streak as long as you can. Use your invincibility and see what you can do about keeping the streak riding.
So the officials got together because clearly the shot clock needed to be reset. They have done so to 26. Siler Schneider with the ball now for UC Davis. And Lamar missing it. Will turn around inside. Good trail. Mute Abedius got a good look at the 3 there.
That's a good shot in transition, Ted. A good find and a good wide open 3 that Roger can knock down.
Joe Mooney cleared it for Davis. And we get a foul off the ball. This is going against UC Davis. Mentioned their coach, Jim Les, who, hard to believe, he's already in his 6th year. Jim Les was a tremendous player at Bradley and then went on to play in the NBA for 8 years, I think, or 6 years in the NBA, rather, and then went back and coached at Bradley, his alma mater.
Did a great job there, Ted.
Yes.
I've known Jimmy a long time, played against
Patrick O'Brien there.
Absolutely.
Remember that name?
Absolutely, and he's had some great teams. He does a great job with his teams and was a great college player and went on to the NBA, so he's had some success wherever he's been.
Got Bradley to the Sweet 16. O'Brien's last season. Mullins hits his second three.
There's my guy, Ted. I keep mentioning Grant Mullins because I think he's really a separator. Great range from three and just a knockdown shooter. You can tell I like shooters, right, Ted?
Yes. Well, coach doesn't. Right?
Well, you always have an affinity. Always have an affinity, but you see how the rhythm, he gets a shot in rhythm, and he just doesn't need much time, and he's got a quick release. A lot of shooters don't have quick releases, and that's their downfall. Grant Mullins has got a great quick release.
Monecki inside. Boy, he got Aquara up in the air. Well, Monecki is only 6'6", Ben. That's the listed height, and he's going against bigger people. He's got some nice moves in there.
Well, and that's what a lot of teams decide to do against Cal. You know, Ted, if you're really a smart player, you're not going to just line up on the block and power over Cal. You're not going to get there. They just block too many shots. They're too big. They're too strong. But if you are able to take Cal's post guys out on the floor and drive them from the elbow, drive them from the short corner, that's giving the offense an advantage against Cal's defense. So Cal's defensive post guys have to really move their feet to stay out of foul trouble and know they're going to get help.
Muti Abedius back in. Foul shooting, you don't think it matters? Last Saturday, UC Davis played at Idaho. They played, by the way, in an old Hoosiers-like gym. They couldn't play in the Dome because the Idaho football team was playing. And they were tied with 6 seconds to go in the game. Lamar, an 86% foul shooter for Davis, missed a foul shot, but Idaho had employed a design play off a miss. They rebounded, threw about a three-quarter court pass, caught in stride layup to win the game with 2/10 of a second.
That was a tough loss, but you're right, and you don't think there's an 86% guy. There's a steal by Charlie Moore all the way to the rim.
Man, that's total theft. Charlie Moore just picked the pocket of Schneider.
Well, he's got some very deceptive hands. You know, you look at Moore, you don't think he's that quick, but he's very quick. He anticipates very well, Ted. That's why he's able to get out in passing lanes. He makes it very hard, and there's Grant Mullins doing the same thing. And that really plays into a good defender's hands when you've got pressure on the ball and then you get out there in the break. So give Cal credit for getting out in the passing lanes, coming up with steals, and converting it to 2 points.
Reese's shoot for two. Show you those hands of Charlie Moore.
Well, watch this, Ted. He's got deceptively long hands, and there's a quick crossover. Didn't get there. And here's Charlie Moore stealing and going in the other direction. He's just really, really great at anticipation, and he can get to the other end in a hurry. But what an asset it is to have Charlie Moore on the defensive end.
Look at his shooting, 41%, and shooting was tough. Talked to Konzel about that too, because I looked at the box scores from their games in Pearl Harbor, and it was stunning how poorly Cal's three-point shooting and free throw shooting were, and it was tough. The lights in the makeshift gym, of course, on the base in Pearl Harbor. Not easy for the guys to shoot.
No, it was very tough. And speaking of tough, Ted, it shows you how hard it is for UC Davis to get to the rim over Ivan Rabb. Even with one foul, really, really tough to go over the top. You just can't do it point blank. You've got to try to beat big guys from the perimeter.
Sam Singer was trying to get it to Rabb there at the block. Had two shots, passed it up. So now the question, as Moore drives, and you do this as a coach, when you have a post player that works hard at the block and doesn't get the ball, do they keep working, right? Because they get frustrated if they don't get it.
No, exactly, and you can't stop working. A good post player never stops working for position, Ted. That's an excellent point, and you've got to constantly remind guys you can't put your head down and give up. You know, it's not easy. Sometimes perimeter guys have a lot of heat on them, a lot of pressure, and they don't want to turn it over, so keep working. Good things will happen to post guys that persist.
All right, Rabb gets the ball on the outside here. And there's a little 14-footer. So Ivan Rabb gets his first points.
Well, he made it look easy, Ted. A lot of big guys can't do what he does. Step back, clear away, and get your own shot and make it look easy as you knock him down.
That was actually his first shot of the game. Right now it's Davis that's been stuck, looking to find a way to score. Screen there by Adenrele. Graham cut off by the bigger man. Oh, he got it to Monecki, but he put the ball down off his shoe. Rabb spinning and gets a very nice little caress off the rim.
Ted, that was a score against a double team. How many guys you know can score and literally just go up and score over the top of a double team? And Ivan Rabb just did that.
Look at the damage Cal doing when Davis turns the ball over. Oh, nice interior passing there. A little screen and roll, and then Adenrele made one extra pass, and Monecki scores.
Well, Konzo Martin wanted his guards to crack down, which means get down and rotate down that bottom spot. You've got to rotate over and cover that opposite block, and they didn't get that done. Konzo really adamant about the defensive end and guys get to the right position.
Mullins wins the fight to the loose ball. Whoops, Singer tried to kick it out and misfires.
Well, Charlie Moore plays big, but he's not that big.
Yeah.
I think Sam got a little overexcited, but good penetration and just a little short on the find.
So now we're going to get a timeout. And it's taken by UC Davis. So Jim Les calling the timeout. All right, let's take a closer look at Rabb's his two scores.
Well, again, you see what Ivan can do. A little bit of a push off, didn't get called, separates, but he gets the shot. But watch what he does, Ted, against the double team. He goes down to the baseline. He has two guys on him, but he just simply goes over the top. And there's not much you can do when you double team a guy that can go over the top of you, and he's very rangy. But this season, what has he done? 4 double-doubles, and he shows you how he's averaging a double-double. A lot of big guys don't do that.
And right now he's playing basically as the big guy because Okoro is sitting with 2 fouls, and Rooks, of course, the other big man, is out. Be out past the first of the year into conference play.
Well, they've worked on this in practice a ton, Ted, and I wouldn't be surprised until you get Cameron Rooks coming back, and he looked like he was getting himself in shape yesterday. But you're going to see 4 out 1, and you're going to see a 4 perimeter lineup with a big guy and Ivan Rabb in this case in the post.
On the hands again of Charlie Moore. Graham, and going to call it a hell ball. And possession's going to go to Davis.
I love the hustle, Ted. You know, that may seem insignificant, but by getting on the floor, getting that ball, tying up Davis, they get the next jump ball. That's really a hustle play. Again, who is it? Charlie Moore just getting his hands on the ball, and I believe it was Jabari Bird really flying on face first after coming back with a bad back. So you got to like their effort, Ted. This is a really sound defensive team that Cuonzo Martin is playing.
Charlie Moore and Cuonzo Martin was asking him today. Charlie Moore had that huge game here against Irvine. He got off to a flying start while Rab and Bird were both out. And how does the blend work? And Cuonzo said, it's going to be fine because Charlie Moore is a really together kid. He said the thing you have to remember is he played, he said, with the same high school team and then the same AAU team his entire years in Chicago. So that's that's 8 years together.
Yeah, Ted.
And so he played with the same people.
Very few players today do that. Yeah. Not only do they not play with the same team, it's not uncommon for players to play for different high schools. So you have players that are transferring high schools and getting to different districts. And so I love the fact that Charlie Moore played with the same team, got into rhythm, and I know that Cal fans are going to want him around for as many years as they can because he makes his team better.
They get the floor some fluids on the floor that have to be cleaned up. So that's causing this brief break.
Well, it gives us a chance, Ted, to look at Cal's defense and how impressive has it been. And this has been a staple for Cuonzo Martin. I'd say outside of Arizona in this league, Cal has really been, as stout a defensive team as there is.
Well, line 1 and line 3 are big there, especially line 3. If you keep the opponents 36%.
Well, why can they hold teams to 27 on the perimeter? Because they can afford to get out on three-point shooters and not worry about teams getting to the rim because they block 6 shots, almost 6 shots a game. So that's an advantage that Cal has, Ted, to be able to really guard on the perimeter.
And we know, Ben, Cuonzo, of course, he's from East St. Louis, Illinois, played for Gene Cady at Purdue when the Big Ten was superb the year that Cuonzo played. And you had to be tough and you had to D. And his top assistant, Tracy Webster, was a Big Ten guard in Wisconsin from Chicago.
Absolutely.
And there's Charlie Moore again. Sets up Mullins for the finish.
Well, you just want to love to play with Charlie Moore. If you run the floor and watch him take a charge here, Ted. He's a pest, and I mean that in a nice way. He's a pest.
And Ben, he's putting on a little display here. Why I was asking Cuonzo about this today was that, you don't get a lot of Chicago kids out here. Doesn't happen very often.
Well, he's a shadow of his coach.
Yeah. And Tracy Webster was this kind of player in his days at Wisconsin.
You don't want to play against Charlie Moore. He's everywhere the ball is, and good defenders do that.
And then you had one here in your era, Jerome Randall.
Well, he
Chicago.
made it tough, too. He just was quick as you can imagine. And, I'm impressed. But look at Cal in the passing lanes again. Here's Charlie Moore out on the break, gets to the rim, finishes. A very unselfish play, Ted, by Jabari Bird, forcing UC Davis to use a timeout.
And UC Davis can use its second timeout already. And, we've had a lot of build-up on some freshmen that deserve it. There wasn't as much build-up on this freshman. He's earning it.
Absolutely. Ted, I always felt that freshmen can come in and make noise on the offensive end, but how many guys can really understand your defensive schemes, the ability to get over the top of screens, get out in the passing lanes, pass the ball, handle pressure, take care of the basketball. Most freshmen don't do this, and Charlie Moore's done this. Well, he just again, he understands ball you man. If you're between your man and the ball,
step right in here.
There you go.
And a nice little kind of sold that call, didn't he?
A little bit of Isaiah Thomas in him, another Chicago area product, Ted. Don't be surprised to have those comparisons.
But here we are, Ben, 11 minutes and change into the game, and he's the player that's impacted this game the most. What do you think?
Absolutely. I don't think anybody's impacted Cal this year as much as Charlie Moore. Again, only a freshman. A much-deserved rest now on the bench. Good opportunity, really smart, because the TV timeout comes shortly. So get Charlie a few minutes and hopefully get him rested up.
All right, clock under 10. Lawrence White will go. And Davis just struggling terribly here to score.
Well, that was a good timeout by Jim Les. He's just trying to settle his guys down. And again, he has a lot of respect for Conzo Martin. He told me that he really thinks this Cal team is a good team and obviously understands their defensive prowess.
Jim Les had a fine year 2 years ago in the Big West with UC Davis. They had a rough one last year. Went 6-10 in the conference. So hoping to rebound from that.
Boy, Cal's defenders are everywhere.
Yes, they are.
They are really up in the passing lane. And, you know, you sometimes worry coming off a long trip. Are your guys going to be sharp? But they're really sharp on the defensive end tonight. They're playing great defense.
Ben, there's long trips, and then there's Hawaii, okay?
It's not so long in the end, right? Well, they stayed there. They were out there quite a while, but
yes.
they told me they got a lot out of that trip. Really an eye-opening trip from an educational standpoint.
Graham short. So UC Davis, and just 4 field goals in 12 minutes of play. This team saw each other at the new arena in Sacramento a couple of weeks ago. UC Davis beat Sac State first game. Nice little feed. Boy, Don Coleman in off the bench beats Cole Welle.
Well, that was pretty. And, you know, don't think those guys don't do that in practice. They're on the same team, pretty much that second team, preparing the first team. But, you know, they know how to play together. Great chemistry, great look by Don Coleman. Great defense by
Welle's going to get to this one. Oh, Lawrence White timed that perfectly. And there's, wow, Monecki looked like he was going to finish that and doesn't. And then gets called for offensive basket interference.
Wow. Well, watch this break, Ted. This is the break I'm talking about. It's exciting here. Great passing. Here's Don Coleman coming up, has his head up, and he just delivers on a bounce pass to a streaking Welle to the basket. Great effort.
The remaining undefeateds, Villanova and UCLA, stayed there today. UCLA would have been number 1 if the Irish made 1 or 2 more shots against Villanova. But anyway, Ben, all right, break that down. Who do you see as Final Four candidates out of it?
Well, you know, it's interesting, Ted. I'm not sure who's going to get to the Final Four, but I can tell you UCLA is playing like a Final Four team, and they're just playing at a high level. Offensively, they're just explosive. Gonzaga has one of the better teams that Mark Few's had. They can get very far, and USC's been very surprising. They've had a great start to the season, so I want to, you know, give those 3 Pac-12 West Coast teams a play.
Ben, I agree with you. I've seen USC twice in person, and Andy Enfield has some talent, and they've been missing Benny Boatwright much of the first part of the year, and they will miss him for a while now.
No doubt, and
still playing well.
And they've got some guys in that team. They're really pretty deep.
Of course, they had two really good road wins today. Bird, and that'd be a shot clock violation. Two really good road wins today. Arizona, way back when, early this morning, went to Missouri to win, and Arizona State with a terrific win tonight at San Diego State.
Well, and those are tough places, and both teams won pretty handily, Ted. So to go on the road team's floor and two good teams and win, those are great wins for those programs.
And I'm even more impressed because he knows how tough it is to play at Viejas Arena, what a home court that's become. There's a travel, and the amount of traveling that Bobby Hurley has done with the Sun Devils.
Incredible.
I mean, they've got to be exhausted, and they go there and win today.
Ted, my teams have played at both San Diego State and Missouri. The Antlers are there, and that's a tough place to play as well. And for the Pac-12 teams from Arizona go in there and win on their home floors, those are big road wins, no doubt.
Utah played at Xavier today as well. It took them down to the closing seconds. Xavier hung on. John Moore tried to split. And look at Singer racing back. Good hustle by Sam Singer. And Rabb again. Double team, flipped it to Singer. Just missed, but there's an active rebound and putback by Muteabidius.
Oh, I love the possession, Ted. That was a very selfish possession. Great interior passing. Guys just finding each other. Really, really good basketball.
Jerry Pollard talking to, that's Mikey Henn of UC Davis, a freshman, and Cal's Ivan Rabb.
You know, Ted, I may say something that may offend some people, but I kind of like that Ivan Rabb's getting a little down and dirty, because that's something that really you want to see from your big guy. And he's a finesse player, there's no doubt, but to see him get a little bit heated and get that, to get his hair up a little bit, I kind of like that in the player. I can tell you what, Conzo Martin likes that.
Well, when anybody who's been around sports for a while, you understand there's a line. Clearly there was a line, but you want, whatever phrase we use for it, toughness, intensity, fight. Some people get down and say, you want a little dog in a guy, which means a good thing.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm saying, but I know what you're saying, and there's a line. You can't cross the line.
Well, I've said this before, but players like Ivan Rabb, and this is not a slam, this is actually a compliment. I'm not sure yet that he knows how good he can be, and he's really good. But he's got the ability to take it up another notch, and he's already averaging a double-double, so you might say, is that good enough? But I know Coach Martin would like to see him just play at that high level of intensity, and he's got the ability to do that.
Cal playing out this half without big man again. Rook's injured, Okoro out with 2 fouls, but this is a matchup where that won't hurt or shouldn't hurt them.
No, it won't. And I love that Ivan Rabb is telling Roger to, hey, you missed me inside. And Roger's an unselfish player, but, as you mentioned before, Ted, big guys, when they post up, they want it now. You can't get it to them later. And he had a guy in his back, and he wanted to go right at his nemesis down there that he had just squared off with.
Lamar got the left side and one. Nice move by Lamar. And that's the first points in 5 minutes for UC Davis. Brenton Lamar gets him.
Well, here's the charge. Ted, good position by Cole Welle, but you can see his feet just inside the arc. And as you know, that rule now has changed, and that is going against the defender.
Yeah, Jerry Pollard right there on that call, so it'll be an and one foul shot coming for Lamar.
Well, that's interesting. All the other Cal interior post guys will be blocking shots, but Cole is going to have to step in there and take charges, and so it's a little different kind of defense from him.
Monecki up with the left hand. Well, that ends up being a 4-point play.
Well, that's a good move. And he went over the top of Ivan Rabb, so that's a pretty rare interior finish against the Cal big guys.
Chima Monecki has 9 of the 13 Aggies points. Bird back in. Double high post there with Welle and Rabb. Oh, look at that rebound. A little fight there, and Cole Welle picked it up and flipped it in.
Well, give Ivan Rabb credit, because he got all the way to the rim, and when you get to the rim, 2 guys try to stop Ivan Rabb, and guess what? You've got the offensive putbacks available.
Lamar, and Lamar drains it. So there's the first 3 of the night for UC Davis.
Well, obviously, he's a 37% field goal percentage from 3, so he can knock it down. Cal's going to have to get up and get in his grill just a little bit tougher.
All right, Rab was looking, found Bird. Nice, Charlie Moore again. And look at him take it right in.
Who else, Ted? As you say, grand theft. And before you know it, he's to the rim and finishing. Just what a great job on defense.
That's his 4th steal of the first half.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a pretty good number for a whole game, for maybe a couple games.
Mooney was straddling the line. 2-point shot off. Foul on the rebound.
Here you go.
Charlie Moore, the story.
Charlie Moore in your way. And he is in your way. Here he is. Steal and finish to the basket all the way, coast to coast. Maybe end one.
Waking up like I gotta be the greatest. Gotta be the favorite, man. I gotta make the pages.
Rarely do we lead off with a player's stat about steals, but how about 4 already by Charlie Moore?
Thou shalt not steal, Ted, unless you're Charlie Moore on a Cal basketball floor. Look at him in action here. He just gets to the rim and dishes off. He just does it all off the defensive end. 4 steals in 1 half. And then he takes the charge, down here, but he's able to get back in the passing lanes. He just really has a nose for the passing lanes. And that's really something you almost can't teach. You just have the ability to know where the ball is going. And he's, as a point guard, you kind of know where it's going. But he has a great nose for the basketball, Ted.
I was just asking Ben off the air. I mean, I hadn't heard of Charlie Moore. I mean, you heard of players like Lonzo Ball and Markkanen and Simmons at Arizona. I had heard of that. I hadn't heard of Charlie Moore till the season started.
Well,
what an impact.
Well, obviously he had first committed to Memphis, and when he committed to Memphis, that was going to be a good get. And obviously Josh Pastner left Memphis, which opened the door. And give Cuonzo Martin, his staff, credit in the connection there, because they came in and they got a very valuable player to their into their program. And from Chicago too, I might add.
Yeah. Does he remind you of Jerome? Are there any comparisons to Jerome Randall?
Well, just the ability that kind of that swagger, that confidence, Ted. As Charlie says, when you play in Chicago or any really city and tougher school district, you're going to be playing against some of the best players, and you're used to being in tough environments. So he's from that kind of background.
Nice job, huh? I'd say the best, to me, seems like the best part of the first half for Davis has been Monecki's ability to move inside. We'll have Yammer and KL in the State Farm halftime report. And it's a huge day of college basketball. Again, it started at about 7 o'clock this morning, I think, with games.
It's been going on all day. You know, one of the things I've noticed, Ted, watching Cal's guys, and especially Ivan Rabb, is they've got good length and good range. So what you're playing, you've got to give your body, don't body up to some of these guys that are smaller. You got to stay your length and just make them go over you. It's really hard for players to get over the top of you. And that's something they're going to learn as the season goes on, because you don't want to be in foul trouble. Cal desperately needs Ivan Rabb on the floor.
So Okoro's been out with 2 fouls. Looks like Rabb's going to go out at the next dead ball. Mullins split it, got it into Welle. Darius Graham back. Shot fake didn't do much there, but White was still able to get inside and draw the foul.
Well, that's their motive right now, Ted. They're trying to get into the body of the Cal defenders, and when you've got that size, you've got to use your body and just play at arm's length. You don't want to body up on the drive. Officials are watching that, so you don't want to be in their cylinder. That's the new rule. So play really an arm's length away, and usually you keep yourself out of foul trouble.
Lawrence White, senior from Burbank. For seniors amongst the 5 starters for UC Davis, they hope that experience will help them in Big West play.
Well, it's always good to have seniors, and Jim Les and I were talking about it before the game, and he likes some of the guys coming back. He thinks this is one of his most athletic teams he's had at UC Davis, and I can see that. They're very quick, and they've got guys that are very agile. Well, Cal's going small now, Ted. They're going to put a smaller lineup on the floor.
Yeah, Domingo and Mutabidius, the 2 front court players. Graham, good spurt. And Monecki was tied up, and they called foul. Domingo went in there and thought he had the ball.
Well, I thought he was in pretty good position, Ted, but again, we're a little bit off the court. I thought Stephen was in there at the right place, right time. But again, UC Davis getting to the rim. And I know that's not pleasing Coach Martin. Again, do you get to the rim when Cal's big guys are normally in the game? No, you don't. But I think the adjustment that Jim Les has made is said, hey, let's try to get the ball to the rim and take advantage of Cal's big guys being out. It's no sooner than I mentioned that. Here's Kingsley Okoro coming back into the game.
Yeah. Monecki at the line. 7 fouls each side here. Just under 2 to play in the half. And Okoro, who's been out for quite a while. Well, trust here by Coach, right? No, they played 2 minutes without a foul.
I was just going to say that, Ted. I like that move, and I was probably too conservative when I coached. I used to keep our guys, as long as the game was in good hands, I kept them on the bench. But guess what? You are also freezing your own player. They don't get in the rhythm. And I think I did that too many times, and I applaud Conzo Martin for putting them back in the game.
I've asked so many coaches that very phenomenon through the years, because how tough is it if a guy sits for 15 minutes, then 15 more in the locker room?
Yeah.
At least they come back out and get going again.
Well, you're not teaching them a lesson to say don't foul. He didn't foul, but you got to say, look, if it's a close game, I got to keep you out. If it's not, I can get you back in it a little bit just so you get your rhythm. It's a hard call, but it's about trust. You did mention the word, and if you trust your team, Mike Krzyzewski used to do this. He used to have Shane Battier play in practice and play what was called foul discipline. When he played, he would practice, Ted, and if he picked up a foul, the whole team would have to run, would get punished or whatever it was. Ooh. So he was used to players playing, and how do you do that? You can't wait for the game to enact that. You have to do it in practice. And Coach Conzo and I were talking about that at practice yesterday. It's a really, I think, effective way of doing that.
When I hear those stories from you, Ben, and other coaches, I laugh. I think back to the years I worked in the Big East when they experimented with the 6-foul rule, and it was basically a UFC fight on the floor. That's really what the game became.
Absolutely. They picked the wrong league to do that, I think.
And it didn't last.
No.
Graham. And Mullins clears it. Okoro set a screen. Mullins went the other way, and then Mullins is called for the foul.
Well, both teams, Ted, are doing what's called downing the screen. That's pushing it to the baseline, not allowing the ball, the player with the ball to come over the top of the screen. Anytime you can take away middle penetration, you got less options. So here they go. Now
So
they're going to
show where's the down? You're saying they're downing the screen.
Here it comes now. Here it comes. They're going to try to jump it and make it go baseline. So you don't let players come off that.
It was that big defender that jumped out to the three-point arc.
Right, and the guard stands on his shoulder and forces him down to the baseline. You don't want him coming off, turning the corner to the elbow and to the middle of the floor. Too many options from there.
Traveling call coached against the teams, and I thought the best teams I've seen in this conference in a lot of years at doing that were Ben Howland's Final Four teams at UCLA.
Oh, absolutely.
With Alfred Aboya and Bob Mute, the way they would play those screens.
Well, they were so long and
pushing the ball handler out to midcourt.
Well, it was tough. We would actually have a rule. We would try to get them in a ball screen, and knowing we weren't going to turn the corner and just pull back and to throw it one pass sideways and one pass right to the rim. We were able to do that. We had some success, but they were tough. You had to get it out of that double very quickly.
All right, Charlie Moore back. Don Coleman's on the floor. There's Coleman inside. And
how about that
he'll
find?
Get to the line.
Great find by Charlie Moore. There wasn't a lot of room down there. And he went, and again, they were downing that screen as well. And Charlie Moore goes baseline, and he just found the streaking down to the basket. I mean, that's a great look for Coleman to get to the basket. And you know, he knows his teammate's going to find him.
All right, Don Coleman misses the first one. Again, our State Farm halftime report coming up with Mike Yam, KL, and Eldridge Rickasner. Man, there's plenty to talk about today.
Oh, absolutely. I thought
ton of basketball.
Great basketball around the country, and certainly in the Pac-12. Some very good results if you're a Pac-12 fan.
It's kind of like the last big day. As we all know, again, finals coming up in many, many places. So well, this is one big day here before those finals start.
No, it's an exciting time, and you know you want to separate. You want to go into finals if you can. Ted, just feeling good about your team. Now you've got UC Davis playing here and trying to slow down and try to get to the rim. And
oh, nice movement! Wow, Schneider got right to the rim and just didn't knock it down.
Well, that was rare because very rare do you get over the top of Kingsley Okoro at about 3 blocks a game. I don't know how he got that over the top.
Siler Schneider, sophomore guard, right there for UC Davis. All right, now Okoro's going to go out. Conzo Martin smartly protecting him. No last-second foul.
Well, they can hold it for one here. See if they do.
Schneider again trying to maneuver in the lane. He got wow, get another shot off that just missed. Denverley thought he was going to have a putback. Instead, it's Charlie Moore. Why not? Why not?
Oh, my goodness. Why not, Ted? Who else but Charlie Moore?
How fitting is that to end the first half that he was the best player on the floor?
Mr. Excitement tonight, Charlie Moore with the half-court make. Let's watch it here. Sam Singer has presence of mind to kick it. Charlie Moore does not dribble the ball, and he kicks it off the glass. The referees are reviewing it right here. And we'll see if it looks good, but it looked good from here.
Ben, you know what that shot is? That's the exact shot that Gordon Hayward hit off the back iron at the national championship game, right?
That's exactly right.
Exact same place on the floor to win the national championship.
That's exactly right.
Charlie Moore used glass. How about that?
They had the wrong guy.
What an end to the first half. What a show by Charlie Moore and Cal. State Farm halftime report next. Night. And it's a dominant first half. Ben, you coached in probably hundreds of games like this. When you play a game on your floor that you're supposed to win, is it how tough is it?
Well, absolutely. You've got to fight what prognosticators think or even what your players think. It's the worst thing in the world is to have your players think this game's in the bag. Yeah. They have to come out and play. And thank goodness Charlie Moore showed up tonight. He's made every big play for his team. They fed off of his energy, and I think the whole team's playing with tremendous defensive energy.
And every probably, I don't know if it's every night, but every week during this time of year, there's at least one, if not a couple of results that get you. Grab muscles in.
Well, you know, people think it's dangerous sometimes to play in school states that are right down the road from you.
Yeah.
Hey, ask Stanford. They played UC Davis, and they've lost a couple of times, not only in basketball, Ted, but in football. So it's not an easy game. It's a dangerous game because that would make their season, as it did when they beat Stanford.
We saw Butler come out and beat Arizona in Las Vegas. Then they won at Utah, undefeated Butler, and they went home and lost to Indiana State the other night.
Well, that's right, and that's what in-state rivalries can do.
All right.
Well,
Charlie was doing his version of Dancing with the Star. I'm the star.
But Jerry Pollard,
and the official said that's dancing.
No, Jerry Pollard was having none of that.
Exactly.
The crowd loved it, but Jerry Pollard says, no, I got to travel. Let's go the other way. But Charlie Moore's just been really terrific, just absolutely superb this evening.
And the blending in, which is what was the gist of my conversation with Konzo, what I was asking him. And you're seeing, I think you see signs of that tonight. That was the point about, playing with Rapp, playing with Bird. Flip inside him, Onecki scores.
Well,
White doing a nice job.
No, and you bring up a great point, Ted. For a coach, it's a nightmare not to have your team on your practice floor. That's your classroom. That's it's sanction and sanctity. You want to get out there and really play and develop your habits on the floor. And if your players don't have that ability to play together, you lose a lot. Well, I love that, Ted. That's what's called a repost. I love players that are able to post up, get the ball, kick it back out, and then repost and even get better position. We always teach post players repost and get greater position, and Cal recognized that, got the ball right back inside Ivan.
Well, look at that. Once again, double team right there, and man, he's just calmly out of it.
And that's the price you pay for double teaming Ivan Rapp. You have to double him, I understand that, but he's such a good passer. He gets his head on the ball and head on his teammates, and he finds them. And he's also 6'11" and goes over the top of you. Very difficult to double team Ivan Rapp, especially out on the floor. Easier on the block, harder on the floor. And I think that's what Jimmy Les is doing, Ted, is he's talking to his post guys and saying, look, and his coaching staff would probably say, look, let's not double Ivan off the block. You do not double team good post players way off the block.
So Kingsley Okoro's first points. And Ben, as a coach, that's an essential part of the scouting report you develop on an opposing post player, right? Does he pass out of the post? Does he pass out of a double team?
Well, and Ivan Rapp checks all the boxes, but at the same time, you do not want to trap off the floor. You've got to trap on his inside shoulder, take away his vision. Hard to take away a 6'11" post player's vision if his head is up. And Ivan does a great job. He rarely puts the ball on the floor. He passes out as well as any big man.
Drag the foot. And there was, again, whatever phrase you want to use it, hedging I've heard a lot, but that's what UC Davis did on that screen, and it caused Moore to drag his foot.
And that's smart. If I'm playing against Charlie Moore, I'm probably double teaming and trapping. And if nothing else, maybe he's not going to turn it over like that, Ted, but you're going to get the ball out of his hands. And I think good things happen when the ball's out of Charlie Moore's hands if you're the opposing team.
Flash out by Lamar. Nice play there. And Brenton Lamar hits his second three. He has 10 points. Only two Aggies have scored baskets in this game, Onecki and Lamar. Rapp, well, that's clean. Catch, turn, shoot.
I love that post entry, Ted, and I love the finish. And again, Ivan Rapp makes it look so easy with his left hand, but for people who don't know and watch him play a lot, he's probably as good or better with his left than he is with his right.
Oh, there's a distance ball, and Mikey Henn, freshman from Bellevue, Washington, gets his first points.
Well, UC Davis is not going to go away. You're going to have to put them away. They're a competitive group, and Jim Les is a competitive guy.
All right, regular season Big West champs 2 seasons ago. With a miss, here comes Lamar, and White filling the right lane, and that's a goaltend. So score it for Lawrence White. Well, the Aggies Northern Californians know well the great football heritage UC Davis has had through the years. As Rabb muscles in and one, Ivan Rabb. Or did they call? Oh, I'm sorry. They called that a charge. That's his third. And Graham's outside the arc.
Not a bad call, Ted. I thought it originally that he wasn't quite there, but he was, and the official made a good call, and Ivan Rabb has to go to the bench. So again, foul trouble, still something plaguing Ivan Rabb as he returns, and that's going to have to, get addressed, and he will. But he's a smart young man. He's conscientious, and he cares. Very unselfish player, Ted. He feels he disappoints or lets his teammates down. A lot of players don't have that remorse. They just want to be on the floor. But I think he understands how important it is for him to be on the floor for his team.
All right, so Davis has made, you see, 4 straight from the floor. Best offensive run they've had tonight. And that's 5 straight. Monecki hits again.
Well, you don't want to call a timeout, but don't be surprised if in a bit maybe Conzo Martin calls a timeout just to regroup. He's got a good lead, but you don't want your rhythm to get disrupted.
Oh, nice give back. Well, it's a nice play between Grant Mullins and Cole Welle.
Well, with that kind of play, Ted, you can throw out the timeout and say, hey, we're back in it right now. They just have to get some stops defensively. I know they want to get their frame of reference here defensively and get some stops. They were getting a lot more stops in the first half.
Back tap there. Mikey Henn kept that rebound alive. Gave second try to Lamar. Sam Singer back. And it's Charlie Moore from the right wing. First points of the second half.
Well, I like Charlie Moore with Sam Singer. Ted, that's a luxury when you have 2-point guards on the floor because they're going to do a good job not only of finding their teammates, but finding each other.
So 15 for Charlie Moore. Ooh, a little floater there. Well, Davis looks like they're just a little looser to start the second half.
Well, and more confident. I think they had to regroup at halftime. They were disappointed they were down by as much, and they're playing Cal pretty even the second half.
12 now for Brenton Lamar. Welle again cuts in. Well, Welle having himself some night. That's 8 points for Cole Welle.
Well, and how about that pass from Kingsley Okoro? And I got to give Cal's big guys credit. Ted, they pass the ball extremely well. They really work on it, but they find guys off that post entry.
All right, Charlie Moore on the push. Again, game going at a pretty good tempo here. Players love this.
No, they do. And mention assist. Kingsley Okoro with his 12th assist. That's pretty good for a big guy. A lot of big guys don't have 12 assists on the year, and that's impressive.
Welle. Crowd loving it. They want to see Welle get every chance he can. Now he's got to play some post D against Monecki. Got some help there from Okoro.
Well, it's tough to go over the top of Kingsley Okoro.
How about that? Inside. Is that the definition of inside out? Mullins leads the break and ends up draining a 3. He's laughing about it.
He should take Sam Singer out to lunch tomorrow because Sam's doing a good job finding his teammates. And now
that's exactly what Sam Singer is. He's not a scoring guard. He's the distributor, right?
Absolutely. And he does a great job. Very unselfish player, Ted. You want to play with Sam Singer.
Well, here's Sam Singer. You know, some guards score, others make it easy for those to score, and Sam Singer's one of those. Ben.
Well, he does, and he really enjoys it, Ted. He just enjoys getting his teammates going. He got a lot of it, really on the charge. You can see how happy he is just to get that thing. And here's the T-shirt on Jewish Heritage Night tonight, Ted.
Yeah.
Go Bears in Hebrew, but really doesn't say Go Bears, just says Go Bears. Real Hebrew is Yalla Dubim. Just
Yalla Dubim.
Yeah, just so our listeners, if they want to know what it really means in Hebrew, there it is. But Sam Singer, obviously bar mitzvah at age 13, and he's quite a player from Miami, and he's enjoying Jewish Heritage Night.
Yeah, Cal, exactly, honoring him tonight with Jewish Heritage Night. Could you read the Torah right now if you got back up there?
I'm going to not answer that on the grounds that it might incriminate me, Ted. But I can read Hebrew. I can tell you that.
Good.
Understanding it's a different story.
Lawrence White hits. That's a 2. Well, UC Davis, to their credits, come out after a very off first half on offense. They've gotten it going in the second.
No, they have, and you know they're gunning it out. And again, if you know Jim Les and you know anything about his demeanor, he's just done a great job in his coaching career. His teams aren't going to lay down and die, so UC Davis will not go away. Cal's going to have to put them away.
This Pac-12 men's basketball game is brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light with great beer. This Pac-12 men's basketball game is brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. With great beer comes great responsibility. By Black Bear Diner, good old-fashioned family food. And by Supercuts, save time. Check in online with our mobile app or at supercuts.com. Well, Cal basketball playing in the Pearl Harbor tournament there at the 75th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. The team took a white boat tour of Pearl Harbor and the USS Arizona Memorial. They were taught by park rangers. Reception aboard the John Stennis aircraft carrier. Then they had a military display the next day with more than a dozen different aircraft and other military vehicles on display. So it was, as you said, not just basketball, Ben, it was education as well.
And credit Concho Martin for scheduling that game and bringing his teams there. Really were active on that trip.
Yeah. Well, there's a 3 made, and again, UC Davis can't basket trade clearly and make this a game, but they've at least found offense.
Well, they've only turned it over one time this half, which is much better than the 16 in the first half. So they have fought back, and Cal's fighting a team that's really responding well to the coach in the second half.
Mullins in, and he draws a foul. I will say this for UC Davis. We started in on this a few minutes ago, but they've got, a lot of folks in this part of the country know about their great football heritage. Hey, they have a basketball national championship. 1998, UC Davis won the Division II national championship.
Now, and that catapulted them, Ted, to going Division I. So, they've done a great job there. There's been a tradition there down through the years, and I've known the coaches there and some of the ex-players.
Bob Williams was the coach of that Davis team, and that propelled him on to a terrific run he's enjoyed at UC Santa Barbara.
Absolutely.
Jim Less's assistant coach, Kevin Nossick, was on that Division II team.
No, he's done a great job through the years as well. Been very loyal to the school, and it's really good when you can have the tradition carried on by former players, and they understand your university as well as anybody.
So, of course, we know that the December early line on Division II National Championship, I think they still play in Louisville every year. That's been the tradition, is Fairmont State out of West Virginia.
Well, that's been impressive, too.
Monecki, nice move inside. You can see why he's going to be a player in the Big West.
Well, he's not a big guy, Ted, but he
inside play.
He uses his body. He's able to take contact and finish the shot. A lot of guys, when you get contact, they don't follow through. He absorbs the contact and waits, and then he still gets his shot off. So really a strong, good-looking player, able to get to the line. He's kept his team playing competitive basketball this half.
And that's the fourth on Rab. So, very point you referenced at the beginning tonight, Ben, has bit Rab tonight. He has not fouled out of a game this year. And he's down for a while here with four. And Monecki's having himself a terrific game.
Well, it is. And now you see Cal having to go with, again, just one big guy on the floor and the rest guards. So we'll see how they respond.
16 for Chima Monecki. Boy, Bird, he looked like he slid a bit on the floor. Late clock. And with Charlie Moore out, it's Mutebedius that takes it in. So you're wondering where they're going to go late in the clock.
Well, Roger Mutebedius can do that, Ted. He's been working hard on his three-point shot, which has enabled him to get to the rim. He got to the basket in a hurry and used his offhand very well. Very good move by Roger.
Lamar got to the foul line. Good, strong. Well, he fell, though. Good, strong defensive rebound by Bird, but falls the ball back to Davis. Out of a timeout. Well, Cal's fighting to make sure they keep this game comfortable. Still 17 up. The Utah Office of Tourism presents Life Elevated. All right, that's one version of elevation. The half-court shot by Charlie Moore. A good shot to end the first half.
Ted, that's mailing it in.
He's had 1-3 so far in the second half. Sitting right now, so Cal using its depth a little bit. They've got Rab sitting with 4 fouls. Charlie Moore's sitting. Jabari Bird is on the floor. Nice little design play there. Measure of a coach right there, right, Ben Braun? Jim Les set up. That was a good call out of the timeout, and Lamar has a good corner three.
Well, that was a good look. Ted, and that's what you want coming out of a timeout. And disappointed, he thought his guy had good inside position and just went over the top. And, that's one of the things that when I was coaching, Ted, used to drive me crazy, that sometimes your guy just might jump over the top of a guy, and the referees would call over the back. I'm saying, hey, he didn't climb on his shoulder. Give him credit. But, it's easy to say from here.
All right, so the turnover scenario has leveled a bit. Davis still has just one turnover in the second half.
Well, and that's why they've climbed back in, Ted. They've really been more efficient offensively.
And that's 5 now by Cal. Bird saw that pass coming.
Well, that's the play that Gonzo Martin really got on his guys about first half, and it's exactly what Jabari did do is got down to crack down to the box, covered down, we call that, and really protected the opposite corner, opposite block.
Singer was looking. He wanted to go back down to Okoro. And to the wing instead. That's nice. Roger Muteabedius.
Well, it's really good to see him
points.
Knock that shot down. He works awfully hard on his shot, and he's really become a better shooter from three. His stats don't show it, Ted, but he's very capable.
Yeah, Cal with a nice sign for the Bears. 8 field goals in this half, 8 assists.
Well, that's much better, and coaches love that. They really, as a coach, you want to have assists leading to baskets. And, just down the road, the Warriors are maybe the best example of that. If you could study a team, Ted, study the Warriors. They just make it incredible to watch.
Well, I was in Tucson this week, Tuesday night, and Boulder Wednesday night for games on our network. And at both stops, the players were talking about Klay Thompson's 60-point game on Monday night, 11 dribbles.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I mean, that was the buzz around social media, and everybody was talking about it.
No, case in point. That's a team recognizing where their bread's buttered and getting it to him, and he's moving really, very well without the ball, something he does as well as anybody.
Charlie Moore's pass deflected out of bounds. I would think that display would be a coaching DVD that you would love.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember DVDs?
Well, I remember cassettes and 8-tracks.
Love your team to see. 60 points, 11 dribbles. That's the greatest ratio you could ask for.
No, it's pretty good. And you're really a fun thing to see if you're a Warrior fan or just a basketball fan.
All right, Graham racing here, trying to get a little break, and he got it and won. That's another. UC Davis in the first half did not have a fast break point.
No, but you see what Jim Les was talking about, Ted, and he said this flat out. His guys are quick to the basket, athletic. They're not afraid of contact, and they did a great job, really, of drawing the contact. As a defender, you got to get out of the way or let it go. And Roger Muteabedius was there. And
sometimes you've seen it. Great scorers, right, Ben? Great scorers have that ability to go in and basically force a foul.
Absolutely.
And that was the case, right?
No, absolutely.
The defender didn't do anything, but Graham forced a foul.
No, and I think that's something you can learn from. But give UC Davis credit for climbing back into this game because they were way, way out, and they're just, they're a couple of baskets for getting it back down in single digits.
All right, so Bird has gone into the locker room for Cal. He ran right up the tunnel. Rab is back in the game, posting up there, and Rab again with 4. And Rab going on offense. Nice tip. Muteabedius being pretty active in the second half. And he draws a foul.
Well, that's what you want. Again, I made this point earlier, Ted, but I'll make it again because it's significant, is that when Rab has the ball, Ivan Rab has the ball, he's drawing double teams. He gets a shot up. There's going to be offensive rebounds to be had because one less defender to box out.
All right, no double team help.
No.
So Jim Les called up the double team, and he let Mikey Henn go.
No, I was surprised. It's probably surprised Ivan Rab. He's not used to playing against no double teams.
Fumble turnover by the Aggies. Mullins setting it up, and there's a foul. Schneider prevents the layup. Schneider frustrated to turn the ball over, then defended. At least will force Cal to shoot.
Now, they did a good job of spreading the floor, and that's important on the break, Ted. You want to make sure you've got great spacing. Don't run the same passing lanes, but try to really make it hard so one guy can't be in an area to guard two. And if you can get spacing, you can get really a lot of fast break opportunities.
Domingo comes in first time in the second half.
Well, again, Ted, Cal's playing with 4 perimeter players, and Ivan Rabb as their center.
So Charlie Moore now with 17 tonight, matching his game average. Davis running the clock down. Schneider. That's a tough one. Yeah, but they had the rebound, but Monecki lost it. And then Don Coleman fouled him midcourt. Ben, that was interesting. I'd love to hear your take. Early in that possession, Schneider, the guard for Davis, had a foul line. Looked like he had a foul line jump, and he didn't take it. Pulled the ball back out. And then late in the possession, ends up forcing a shot.
Well, that's where you learn off of film, Ted. As a coaching staff, you sit down and say, hey, we want you to take this shot, and here's one really we thought you forced. Obviously, end of a shot clock, you have to put up a shot. But that's a good example, I think, of what coaches like to see is getting their guys to take opportunistic shots.
See, and I wonder about that in this era now where the foul line jump shot is almost frowned upon, right? And I'm saying that's a foul line. That should be 2 points.
No, you hear coaches talking about this all the time. It drives me crazy hearing about that's a bad shot, that's a bad 2, or a long 2. You might as well make it a 3. But I think any shot you can shoot in rhythm, Ted's a good shot. And if you're open, by all means, shoot it, unless you're just not capable of knocking shots down. But most of the players on the court tonight, you're not playing collegiate basketball if you're not able to knock down shots unless you're a post player on the perimeter. So I agree. I'd like to see that happen more often. Players shooting the ball in rhythm, not turning down shots.
Little 3-man there on one side of the floor. Now they get it to the other side to Monecki. And he goes in. And let's see where that's going.
That may go on Ivan Rabb.
Is that on Rabb or is it Coleman?
Well,
it's Coleman on the reach.
Well, that's fortunate.
Yeah.
Because that would be an early exit for Ivan Rabb. And, you want to think the game's in good shape, but you don't want Ivan Rabb on the bench with 5. Yeah, that's definitely a foul on Don Coleman.
So Chima Monecki from Canberra, Australia. Is Randy Bennett starting a...
Yeah,
Randy's success in Australia starting a trend.
Well, everybody knows about it, and he's certainly done a job down the road. But UC Davis is also finding their niche, and the Australian players want to come over here and play, and it's a high-level, sophisticated brand of basketball in Australia.
Now that's the recruiting trip I want. I'll be your assistant when you go back on the bench. All right? Let me recruit Australia.
Get your sleep. That's all I can tell you. I had a player from there back at Eastern Michigan.
And Monecki, they're flashing for the steal. And he took it right in there. And it's a smart play for Davis. They should be going at Rabb, right?
Well, I think that's what he did.
Yeah. And up the floor, Monecki's going to end up getting. Well, is he going to get it back? Yes, he will. And he got it back on the second time. Second time, Monecki's glasses have come off. So while that happens, we're going to get a timeout, although Monecki's having himself a nice night. Up to 20 points. So Cal, 7.5 to go, still leading by 17, although it's been a feistier half from UC Davis. And now Cal, which has been battling injury throughout the non-con, watch Jabari Bird coming in along the left side of the foul lane. And in the mess of the bodies here, as he lands, it appears that he landed awkwardly on
Well,
foot.
yeah, it does, Ted. It might have been an ankle. I don't believe it's related to his back, but it looks like he did, felt like he did tweak something. And
grimace.
He's now in the locker room being attended to.
Yeah, so Jabari Bird has not come back to the bench. Cal continues to play on. Rab playing with 4 fouls. And having to fight through the frustration of continuing to battle injuries to significant players. Mullins hits the 3.
Well, again, Grant Mullins stepping up. They went zone, which was a good call out of the timeout, Ted. And Grant Mullins is a zone buster.
That's his 3rd made 3 tonight. Or check that, 4th made 3. And inside Welle, he's going to pick up a foul. So Chima Moneki's first run here with UC Davis, his first season he's played for the Aggies, and he's having himself a little bit of a statement game tonight that he's going to carry into his conference play.
You know, Ted, as a coach, I always worried about players at his size because you think it's a mismatch against him. It actually was a mismatch for him because you're really struggling to guard a player that's at that size. He's very agile, and he gives bigger players fits. He really does.
So there is Bird back on the bench. Moneki's problem tonight's been, the only problem's been the foul line. He's 4 out of 10. Late in the clock. Mullins has to go, tried to bounce it, and a kick. So we'll get a inbounds by Cal and a reset of the shot clock. 15.
Well, you have Davis going back to their man. They didn't like the zone with Grant Mullins on the court, but you can rest assured he's going to come back and try to get the ball even against them in the man offense.
Right there again, that hedge pushing more up top, sets up Singer. That's offline. Benecki going right back at Rab. Well, they're doing what they should, right?
I like it.
Right at him.
Ted, I like it. You have to do that. If they can get Ivan Rab out of the game, that's advantage then, at least slightly now, to UC Davis just down the stretch. And they're running out of time, so they have to do it pretty quickly.
Yep, under 6 now to go. Oh, nice inside. Charlie Moore did well to get that to Rab.
That was a great look.
See if Davis runs its offense again through Monecki here. Now Lamar goes in. Nice little floater in the lane.
Well, he's got a knack, doesn't he? And Jimmy Les calls a timeout just to keep his team hanging around. And, you know, they're still, believe it or not, Ted, they're still in a position where they can strike and cut the lead down. There's no doubt. So he's coaching his team. But you'll see it again. You'll look at the last basket that was scored, and it's just a floater in the lane. That's pretty impressive, going over the top of Ivan Rab. And Ivan doesn't want to pick up his 5th foul, so that's pretty sound offense going into the paint over the top of a guy with 4.
Last time out, by the way, for UC Davis.
Well, you can't save him, Ted.
Yeah, can't take him. All right, tomorrow, men's basketball, 3 in a row, starting with Oregon State, then to Seattle for the Huskies, and finally to the Galen Center for USC and Pepperdine.
Now, those are 3 pretty explosive players in this league. Ted, I've watched all 3 of those players in person, and they can really play.
And USC will try to stay in those ranks. We saw the dwindling number earlier, ranks of undefeated. Two losses for Cal this year. They lost in Sacramento, a neutral site game with San Diego State, and then they lost on Wednesday to Seton Hall in Hawaii.
Ted,
They
I
won't
would
play a true road game. That's the interesting part about Konzo's schedule this year. Cal will not play a true road game.
No, we talked
until January
about that.
5th.
No, we
Yeah.
talked about that. And that's sometimes that's unusual. Although you see other teams like Duke and other teams across the country that prefer to stay at home and play, and so everybody's got their philosophies.
And the first one will be, talk about a little baptism for like a Charlie Moore. First one's going to be a Pauley Pavilion.
That's all.
The first time.
No, that's just a little
first road game for Cal.
Yeah, welcome to LA.
Bad screen called there.
Well, I'd like
Is
to
that
see
on
that.
Rab?
I'd love to see that again, just
on
because to see if it was a moving screen, Ted. When you set a screen, you must have both feet come to a stationary stop, and you cannot roll out early. Let's see if he rolled out early maybe on it. Here's the screen, Ted. He stands there, he takes it, but he moves his leg at the last, last second, and
A subtle little hood.
yeah, and I thought Ivan did a good job. Again, the ball handler must use your screen. It's really up to the ball handler to do that.
Oh, Sam Singer.
Well, I thought
Yeah, I think a lot of folks thought that was a good pick.
and
The Rab call looked like the right call, didn't it?
well, it did because
he moved that
at the
left.
last minute the leg did move, and again it's just a little point, Ted. But your teammate must use your screen. Once you're set, he's got to set his man up and come off you as tightly as possible and use you. And you shouldn't have to reset your screen once you've set it.
So this will be 1-1 for Lawrence White.
Yeah, Stam's still shaking his head, wondering where that one came from. But he's a sneaky defender, Ted.
Well, after a fairly clean first half, we're getting a lot of fouls in the second. Now going the other way. And we have 9 fouls on each team. So this will be the last 1-1. Okoro will shoot.
Well, Ted, this is why a lot of coaches and teams end up going to zone, too, because they want to keep key guys out of foul trouble. Even if it's not your primary defense, out of necessity, sometimes you have to go to a zone. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Cal and Konzo Martin go to a zone. And it's no secret they have a zone. They have a 2-3, and they have other zones they've worked on in practice. So they'll do it.
Well, we saw Sean Miller do that the other night for Arizona, given
Absolutely.
Sean's depleted roster.
Well, it makes sense to me. When you have to go to your rec center to get your 8th man who plays 13 minutes for you, you're going to have to come up with a different way.
And that's what makes Arizona's trip to Missouri today and go in there and win handily.
No, very impressive. Very impressive by the Arizona Wildcats.
Well, finally, Lamar just let it go over Domingo's defense.
That's hard to do. Stephen Domingo, very rangy, did a great job staying on the floor.
All right, Cal pulls it out here. This time in the game, willing to use shot clock. Now under 10, Singer. Singer needs to go. There's Singer's points.
He must have heard you,
on
Ted.
his night. Way to go, Sam.
Yeah, he must have heard you because Sam's very smart at the end of the shot clock. He really has good mastery of time and possession, and he decided to keep it himself. That was the right decision.
Yeah, he helps so many other ways for Cal. Once in a while, you like to see that guy. There's a steal. You like to see the guy get some points.
Absolutely.
Of course, you remember Sam had a big game. Was it Washington, I believe, right? Had a huge three-pointer to win a game.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And he just willed his team to win that day. And remember it like it was yesterday. But great pass again, unselfish play to Grant Mullins, who's running the wing. And Sam gives you just the right pass at the right time.
Battling in there is a Dunrelay back in the game for UC Davis. Well, the foul's going to get us to a timeout here with 3 minutes and change to play in Haas Pavilion. Better second half for UC Davis, still comfortable for Cal. Well, I don't think this was much debate. Our Barbasol close-shave player of the game, and he did this with a fabulous first half. Charlie Moore had 12 and 4 steals just in the first half, Ben.
An incredible first half, Ted, and he just did it. Came out of the gates just playing great basketball. And what about that half-court shot? Why not, as you said, hit that shot right before halftime? There's nothing he could do wrong in the first half, and he just gave his team a huge lift, and he's the reason his team has been up by this margin, and they've maintained this league, although Davis has played much better in the second half, playing Cal even.
Second half's been just about a draw. Cal's up 1 point now in the second half as Moore goes to the line. But so Ben, if you're looking at Cal right now, they seemingly are in good shape here. What do you think they take from this game?
Well, a couple things. One, they needed to come back in the second half, even though they had a lead. But you can look to the bench, Ted. 38 points off the bench. That you can build on. I think any coach would love to have that kind of production. So they've got the confidence, even through injuries, that they can go to their bench and come up with productivity.
You know, and I wonder if Gonzo Martin stays during conference play the way he's going right now to bring Mullins off the bench.
Well, he's been very productive tonight, too.
What a weapon that is, right?
Absolutely.
Bring a shooter like that.
Now, if they're zoning you, you may not be able to do that. You may have to start him.
Yeah. Manecki. So Manecki puts it back in, and that gives him a new high in his first season at Davis, 22 points.
Well, very impressed with that young man. He's had a great game tonight. He's been a real thorn in Cal's side.
Look at this. Nice open setting up, and Charlie Moore gets himself over 20 with that.
He must not know he's player of the game. He's still knocking down shots, Ted, but he just continues to play. You know, players play and players make plays. Charlie Moore's a guy that no matter what the score is, he's giving you the same game. And as a coach and as a fan, you can really appreciate that.
Gonzo Moore took a timeout. He won't use it, though. He's just doing this to sub in some players off the Cal bench.
Well, and rightly so. Some of these guys have really worked hard for this team all season, and they deserve a chance to be on the floor. Good move by Coach Martin.
So you think, Ben, here's a game, what you take away, as you referenced the bench scoring, as Monecki gets 2 more. That was a very nice penetration and setup there for UC Davis.
Come on, Roman! Good Roman!
And coming back, that's Roman Davis for Cal.
Well, good-looking move. And Roman Davis is a good-looking player, Ted. He's been a big factor. I know Gonzo Martin would like to get him some more minutes, but this is the way you start. You build on minutes. You got to earn them, but it's something he can do.
All right, back comes Coleman. Hamilton. Ooh, this ball knocked from him. But Ben, what I was going to say is, if you're Cal tonight, you say Jabari Bird, and of course, to hold the breath to find out what the extent of the injuries, but he only plays 18 minutes. Rab fouls out, and you're still up 25.
Well, that's why I'm so impressed that you're able to go to your bench and come up with the kind of, you're scoring half of your points or more off the bench. That's a great sign for Gonzo Martin.
There's a push. How about Roman Davis gets 2?
Well, he's looking to his bench. He wants the bench to know, hey, he belongs. He's a competitor, and he is. You know, these guys were good players in high school, and they just need some opportunities, Ted. That's what injuries do. Sometimes it affords guys an opportunity to show what they can do, and Coach gets a little confidence in some of those players.
So Rel Hennington for UC Davis, guard who had the good setup earlier. Roman Davis, red shirt from Windward High in Los Angeles. Nick Hamilton from Westchester High in Inglewood.
And these
Oko Cardoli from La Cañada's in there.
Well, they came from very good high school programs, so they're just getting their chance to play. And, you know, it's good to see them get rewarded because they're such a big part of practice, Ted. I can't emphasize how valuable they are. They are there every game and every practice, rather, helping their team set up.
All right, so the final score presented by Microsoft Cloud follows us with all of the news. Another good UCLA win, over 100 again at Pauley, and a really impressive win, I think. The win of the day in the conference is Arizona State. Go to San Diego
absolutely.
State win, that's a good one.
It sure is. Bobby Hurley had his team really playing today.
Nice setup inside, and Cole Welle, well, that's a young man from Aptos, California. south of San Jose, and that's his first double-figure game at Cal.
Well, that's a good sign, and again, very unselfish play by the Cal Bears down the stretch.
Snyder hits a three.
Well, Jimmy Les can build on this too, Ted. I know they're going to take a loss today, but they sure played well in the second half, and his team can build on it.
Whoa. Nick Hamilton. That's his first three at Cal.
He's going to show everybody, too, that he can play. These guys are lighting it up. I really like to see this, Ted. Guys playing to the final possession.
Yep. Well, these are, it looks a little bit like Summer League ball, but for these guys, this is their moment.
Absolutely. And you know what? They played unselfishly. They play together. And again, something Cal can build on with their players coming off the bench. And Jim Les will go back and he'll show his team the second half of this game and say, look, this is how we have to play. And I'm sure he'll get his team going.
So Cal comes back from Hawaii a couple of days back, and they come out here and take care of their home court.
26 now and counting. Ties a school record, Ted. Huge, huge win. We forgot that, but next game will be the one that breaks it.
Well, Cal will have a couple more non-conference home games here to try to build on that streak. And then it'll get tested because they open up conference play here with Arizona.
Well, that's all. Just